This is a breaking news report.
I'm Dawn Lopez. We want to bring you up to date on breaking news from the Buckman Bridge, where right this minute a car is being pulled out of the river here. A car went over the side in an accident around 8 this morning, headed northbound towards the west side. In the last hour, we have learned that the car was located. Crews are trying to reach it. They have reached it. As you can see, they're pulling it out of the river as we speak. We're waiting to learn more, however, about the driver that crews have been looking for. They have sent out JSO, the Coast Guard, the Navy have all been out there searching since just before 8 this morning. And we have team coverage on this. We have crews on the bridge, and we also have a crew in the water as well. They have been working with the Coast Guard trying to learn an identity of the driver. Now, the southbound lane headed into Mandarin has been clear for most of the morning. They have allowed traffic to continue to move towards Mandarin. However, on that northbound side, traffic has been at a trickle. There have been drivers who have been waiting about an hour trying to get over this span. We want to go to our Derrick Odom. He's in the First Alert Traffic Center for the very latest. And once again, Derrick, they're pulling this car now out of the river.
Yeah, pretty incredible scene right now, Dawn, as you see the wrecker right there. We've been following this since right before 8 o'clock. 7:54, in fact, is when the FHP call went out. And there you see the truck now out of the river. The wrecker is pulling it, and they're going to get it on land right now. So that will block off all those northbound lanes as you make your way from Mandarin into Orange Park. Again, this happened just before 8 o'clock. Car in the river. They are searching for a person. No word on whether the person's been found, but as you see, they have the car right now. All those lanes are blocked, backing up traffic for miles and miles. Navy and Coast Guard quickly joined the search with helicopters and boats to try to find this missing person. And as you said, we have crews all over the scene as well. And our Leslie Corsi is actually in a boat on the water right now, and she's heading to the scene right now. All those lanes are backed up. Again, you want to avoid this if you can, as now they're going to get this wrecker, the truck, on dry land and tow it away. But the search does continue for the person that may be in the water right now. But Dawn, an incredible scene right now. We've been following on the Buckman Bridge all morning long, and there is still a traffic backup. I just saw a post on Facebook and Twitter of people who've been in traffic for over 2.5 hours.
Now 2.5 hours. Before, we were hearing at least an hour folks were waiting to get over the bridge. But a very sad scene as you're looking at here, a car that has been pulled now from the St. Johns River. As Derrick mentioned, that car went over the bridge around 7:54 this morning, and they have been searching for that car in the last hour and a half. It was located in the water. They were waiting for the wrecker to come in, and as you can see, they have now pulled it out of the water. We have our Jessie McDonough, who's live there at the scene, and she told us a little earlier that there was an accident on the southbound side of the bridge. They say that there were some rubberneckers. They were looking over from that northbound side of the bridge, and that's when a chain reaction crash happened, sending this car over the side. Police have been saying that they were looking for a driver as well. We're still waiting for information on a driver right now. We want to go back over to our Derrick Odom for some information on the traffic that's starting to move. It's moving on the southbound side, but it is stopped on the northbound side, Derrick.
Yeah, and as Jesse told us this morning with the crash that happened on the southbound side, this is what often happens with these crashes. Initial crash happened on the southbound side with a jackknife tractor trailer. People on the northbound side slowing down to look at that crash, and that's when they struck somebody who was on the side of the road there changing a tire, and that's when the chain reaction crash happened and blocked lanes. Initially, lanes were blocked on both sides of the roadway. Southbound lanes quickly cleared, but then that's when we found out the car was in the water on the northbound side of things, and that's when all the first responders, at least 20 first responders, responded to that scene there on the north side. We had people standing on top of ambulances and fire trucks looking into the water, trying feverishly to find the car and to find the person that was in the water. But as you see right now, they have found the truck and gotten it at least out of the water, but that search continues for the person. You see one of the boats, it looks like a Coast Guard boat that is coming into the scene right now, Dawn, as they've gotten that truck out of the water, but they're still scouring that area.
The Navy has been there on scene. The Coast Guard, JFRD, Jacksonville Fire and Rescue, JSO, all have been on the scene. At first, they were trying to locate the car. As you can see, as we mentioned, it has been found, pulled out of the water. Still waiting for details on the driver. But again, it was a chain reaction crash, we're being told, that sent that car over the side. And the last time that we've seen an accident where a car has gone over the side, it was in 2010, and that's where a local wife and mother, Luma McKay, she went over the side when her car was hit by another driver. That driver, Sasha Pringle, didn't stop at the scene. She has since been sentenced to 30 years for that crash. And there was also another time, it was in around 1999, and that's where a ladder came off of a car, off of a truck, a work truck. A car tried to swerve and a pickup truck went over the side. Let's go to our Jesse McDonough, who's live on the bridge right now to give us new details about what police are saying happened in that accident this morning just before 8, Jesse.
Yeah, Don, the original accident was actually on the southbound side of the Buckman Bridge, and what happened was there was a jackknife trailer tractor accident on that side of the bridge. That's when cars on the north side of the bridge started to slow down and gawk at this accident, and that's how this actually happened. Now, the drivers that were in the fourth lane closest to the outside of the northbound lane actually tried to slow down, but they couldn't because the car in front of them had stopped traffic. That's when they tried to get in the lane next to them on the left-hand side. They were T-boned by another vehicle that was coming in that third lane. That third lane actually did kind of a reverse spin-off from that vehicle and then went right into the water. Currently, FHP tells me that they are using a wrecker right now, and I can see it with my eyes right now. I'm looking out into the water to remove that car, but they do not know if the people in that are still in that vehicle, and they do have the Coast Guard out here looking for them to see if maybe they're still in the water. They also don't know how many people were inside of that vehicle either, so they're kind of at a loss right now. They're just trying to figure this all out, and they should be out here at least for the next 2 hours investigating. FHP says the traffic is backed up for about 3 miles, and it will be for at least the next couple of hours, Dawn.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. And we're getting a closer look at the car as it's been pulled out of the St. Johns River. Again, it went over the side just before 8 o'clock this morning. And Derrick, one of the things that JSO has been asking, of course, is for drivers to avoid this area, southbound or northbound altogether, as they continue to work this accident.
Yeah, you definitely don't want any more onlooker crashes from the southbound side, and people have been slowing as they see all the police activity. You see the flashing lights there. I think we counted over 20 vehicles at one point that were on this scene. Traffic on the northbound side is still backed up, as you heard Jesse say, for about 3 miles back to about Old St. Augustine Road, making your way northbound through Mandarin. So you definitely want to exit the interstate if you're heading in that direction. But if you have to get over the Buckman Bridge, this is your only way, of course. And they have been intermittently letting cars through in that far left lane and emergency lane on the bridge. And as you imagine with this activity right now, it looks like they are letting a little bit of traffic squeeze through to the far left still, but it's going to be a slow ride going over the bridge. And we know we've had this situation before, as you mentioned. The DOT has said before when we've talked to them about cars going over the rail that everything is regulation, but this has happened. This is the fourth time in my memory working at the DOT for 10 years of this, a car going over into the water happening. So there's maybe another issue that the DOT has to revisit. But again, you're going to still see a big backup right now as they get this straightened out with the car on the wrecker.
All right, Derrick. And again, our Jesse McDonough is reporting a 3-mile backup here from the northbound side of the Buckman Bridge. On the southbound side, they are allowing traffic to move freely. And so there are no problems there, of course. You do have people who are looking, trying to see exactly what's going on. But we're giving you a really good look here at the car as it's just been pulled out of the St. Johns River. We have calls into the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office waiting to hear how many people they believe was in the car. But earlier this morning, just after 8, they told us that they were looking for one person who they thought was in the water. But again, they don't know. We're learning how many people may have been in that car. We want to go to our Christy Walski now, who's there at the bridge as well, and she's following traffic there. And Christy, we're hearing that people could be in traffic for 2 hours or more at this point.
Yeah, FHP is telling me that traffic is backed up approximately 3 miles heading toward Orange Park. The line of traffic, of course, as you've been seeing all morning, is moving very, very slowly. And only the very left lane is open right now as FHP continues this investigation. The captain I spoke with just a short time ago said he's predicting they'll remain at this scene for about the next 2 hours investigating. So, of course, you can expect that traffic's going to remain moving very slowly at about the same pace for that time period. Now, there are updates, as I've reported earlier, posted on the electronic boards on the highway that are warning drivers about the traffic. But, of course, the traffic remains backed up for quite some ways. He says that he thinks it's backed up all the way to the 95 interchange. Now, again, it's going to be a long commute if you must drive this direction, so they're just recommending that everyone that's on the bridge and in that line of traffic to remain patient for now.
All right, thanks, Christy. And JSO is asking if you can avoid this area, avoid it if at all possible as the investigation continues. And we are looking at a pickup truck that has been pulled from the St. Johns River. Again, still waiting for information on the driver. And Derrick, from what we understand, we don't know how long it could take before they get this scene clear. Absolutely.
Investigation, we all know in situations where there have been serious or fatality crashes, FHP is on the scene for hours sometime investigating. And if we have a just check some of the other traffic cams to see how far the backup is. I was looking at the 295 in San Jose camera, and traffic is at a standstill at that point. Looks like it's backed up. There you see it on traffic cam on your right side. That is northbound traffic heading from Mandarin toward Orange Park, toward the Buckman Bridge and that crash scene. So still crawling. As I said before, they're letting traffic intermittently go by in that left lane, but it is backed up, like Christy said, almost to the 295, 95 South interchange, and that is just a long, slow ride. DOT Traffic Management Office, where I still work, they have posted signs on the roadway warning people of this situation that is still going on and giving them that information to avoid this area and advise them to call 511 for updates and, of course, to watch the local news, watch us to get that information right now. But again, that truck is on the record. It looks like they're lowering it down now, and this is not a normal everyday wrecker. It took a while for them to get this wrecker on scene. This is heavy duty to be able to pull that truck out of the water and get it up onto the bridge, Dawn.
And Derrick, we have had this story on social media, on Twitter and Facebook throughout the morning, and we've been talking with some of our viewers, and many of them are commenting about how they feel when they drive over this bridge, and many of them say it makes them uneasy. But since that accident in 2010, Luma KG, who went over the side of the bridge in an accident, many have questioned the safety of the bridge, but FDOT did do some studies and they deemed it was safe.
Yeah, they've sent crews out there before. They have a whole safety team that goes out when anything like this happens, and I'm sure they'll do that again, a bridge inspection, and the safety engineers that'll go out and inspect this and to evaluate how this crash happened and if it's really something that is out of the ordinary or could happen in an everyday occurrence. And in previous times, they have said, no, this is standard procedure. These walls are high enough, and this should not happen. This was an extraordinary condition, and I wonder if that will be the conclusion they come to with this one. But we've both seen this happen before, and it'll be interesting to see what conclusions they come up with now, as we still see live on the scene with that wrecker. It looks like they've got the truck onto the ground, and I'm sure they'll get that loaded up, and the investigation will continue. But again, you're still backed up to Old St. Augustine Road, almost to the South 95 interchange, approaching this scene, and it's hard to tell, but it looks like there are some cars squeezing through in the far left lane there. But yeah, people, again, as this story has come up, they will get that uneasy feeling as they drive over the Buckman Bridge because of scenes like this.
Exactly. Well, our Leslie Coursey, Derrick, now is on the phone with us. She's on the St. Johns River, literally in a boat, catching up with the Coast Guard as they are working on an identity of the person who was in the car. Leslie?
That's right, Dawn. I'm actually here at the Julian Creek Marina. The Freedom Boat Club is taking us out on the river right now so we can get a river view of the rescue that's happening right now. From what I understand, this is an all-hands-on-deck situation. All of our area first responders are on scene. I am headed that way right now, and as soon as I have some more information, I will be sure to bring it to you.
All right, thanks, Les. And our Christy Walski is there as well. She's on the southbound side of the bridge. And she tells us that there's a news conference happening right now. Let's join it.
We do not at this point, but due to the period of time and not seeing anything, I would probably think that it's going to be a recovery mission at this point.
Do you know exactly how many were in the truck?
We do not.
No, I know at this point, since you just got the car out, you're probably going to be notifying the family. You're going to be looking up who this car belonged to.
Yeah.
That is correct. That's what we're doing now, is attempting to notify the owner of the vehicle, see if they can tell us who was driving the vehicle, how many people were in the vehicle, etc.
Is this a local plate?
I do not know.
Can you tell me one more time that they pulled them up and they weren't in the vehicle?
They did pull the vehicle out of the water, and there is nobody in the vehicle.
Now, were the windows smashed open? We were seeing that they were possibly smashed open. Was that something that they apparently did, or do you think that it was search groups?
I have no idea. I don't know.
How long do you think it'll take you before you get a hold of somebody, the owner of the vehicle?
Depending whether it's local or whether it's somewhere else in the state, you know, anywhere from an hour to a day.
Mm-hmm. But you have no idea right now? Don't
have any idea right now.
Are you guys concerned about weather? I know that severe storms are rolling in. Are you guys concerned about that in terms of the search for this person?
No. As you know, if somebody is in that water and they're deceased at this point, the body probably will not float until later today or tomorrow.
What about the search? What can you tell me about the search going on in the water?
They're going to continue to search. There's boats from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and from the Fish and Wildlife Commission.
So Coast Guard out of the picture now?
Coast Guard is still out there.
Now, I understand that there's one lane open at this point. Now that they've got this car, are they going to attempt to open all the lanes?
As soon as we can finish our investigation, yes, we will open up the lanes. There was a lot of marks on the road, skid marks, tire marks, and they are photographing and measuring those. And as soon as those get complete, then we'll be able to open the road.
What's your time frame for reopening the road?
I expect about an hour.
Now, I know we haven't really asked much about the other driver who apparently clipped this car that went into the water. Do we know, do we have any information on that person?
I do not have any information on that person.
Facing any charges?
I don't know. Too early in the investigation.
How long are you going to be out here investigating, you predict?
We'll probably be out here for another hour.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
Now, again, that update was that they did remove the car from the water and the people were not inside of that car. The Coast Guard is still out here looking for the car, but at this point, FHP says it looks like it's going to be, sadly, more of a recovery mission rather than a rescue mission. Now, they say that they are still going to be out here investigating. There's no word if that other car will face charges as of yet, but this traffic here is going to be backed up for at least the next hour. Reporting live on the Buckman Bridge, Jesse McDonough, CBS 47, Fox 30 Action News.
Right. Thanks, Jesse. And as you heard just this moment, that was Lieutenant Keith Caston, who is saying that this is now a recovery mission versus a rescue mission. That pickup truck has been pulled from the water. You've been watching it here on Action News for the past 20-30 minutes at this point, but they're saying that it could be another hour before they're able to finish up their investigation here on the bridge and totally open it back up to traffic. We want to go back over to our Derrick Odom in the First Alert Traffic Center with more information. They continue to say if you can avoid this area, Derrick, do it if at all possible, because the delay here on the northbound side of this bridge, 2.5 hours, you say, at this point.
Yeah, I saw people posting on Facebook and Twitter about sitting in traffic for at least 2.5 hours, debating on whether to even go to work today after they've wasted all this time. Hopefully they will be able to get those lanes open in the next hour. Like Captain Gaston said, they're taking pictures of the scene right now, which is something they didn't used to do. They're using new technology, taking pictures of the scene to photograph the skid marks and all the evidence that's there, and that way they can leave the scene and go and investigate and use that information at the office instead of staying on that scene all day. So he estimated an hour this will be closed down, so that backup is going to linger. It is backed up all the way to Old St. Augustine Road right now, but the DOT will still continue to post messages on the message board signs and their 511 system warning people of this situation and to stay away from it if you can. The backup, again, is going to take a while to unwind. And there you see it at San Jose Boulevard, 295 and San Jose Boulevard. Definitely traffic barely moving. They're letting some cars through in that far left lane. So it's just squeezing through one at a time, and that's not going to alleviate this backup anytime soon. So just expect a long delay, and if you can avoid the area altogether, please do so. Dawn?
Thanks, Derrick. And our Christy Walski is still there at the scene as well. And Christy, you still have dozens of emergency vehicles there from JFRD, JSO, the Navy, the Coast Guard.
Yeah, I want to step out of the way and give you a live look at that scene. They are expecting to be out here for at least another hour, and at one point they told us perhaps 2 hours once that vehicle is recovered. They have quite a lengthy investigation that they'll be working on. And as you can also see, the traffic just remains backed up quite some ways. FHP is telling me approximately 3 miles heading toward Orange Park and the Buckman Bridge. Now, again, the line of traffic moving very slowly. The captain I spoke with said that it could be perhaps 2 hours, and they're recommending that if you can avoid this area at all means, do so. Of course, if you have to come this way, prepare to be patient. There are updates posted on the highway letting drivers know about the traffic ahead. So if you can exit and get out of this traffic, that is recommended. There are still quite a few, again, emergency vehicles out here. The traffic is blocked off for one lane on the Buckman Bridge. And again, FHP will be out here for at least another hour. If you have to travel this way, please be prepared to be safe.
Thanks, Christy. In the meantime, we heard state troopers say that they are trying to identify who that car belongs to. They're trying to reach the owner, and that way they can try and figure out who exactly was driving the car. But again, we are waiting for information on the search and recovery of the person who was in that car from the accident from this morning, where that pickup truck, I should say, went over the side of the bridge. Our team coverage will continue on CBS 47 Action News at noon, and follow us online as well at actionnewsjax.com, Facebook, and Twitter as well.